Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. My name's Joe. In this video we'll be taking a look at the game Stargate Timekeepers. This was just released. Now I'm going to show some gameplay. I'm not the world's best at real-time strategies, tactics type stuff because my hand-eye coordination is not what it used to be. But I did play through the prologue and at least most of the first mission, and we'll be continuing, but I did want to get some content up on the game, relatively close to its launch, as opposed to waiting until I play through the whole thing, which could take a while. So there may be more videos coming on this, but this will be your first look at it. So we're going to start with the prologue, which is the Battle of Antarctica. And if you are a fan of the Stargate television series, then you'll be familiar with that. That was at the end of one of the seasons, 7, I believe it was. Anyway, this is kind of a side story to that. And the interesting thing about this game is that it is episodic, and there are 7 episodes in, I guess, part 1 or season 1, however you want to call it. But when you buy the game, you'll get part 1 and part 2. Part 2 is not released yet, but they will be releasing 7 additional episodes, or missions if you prefer. They call them episodes, but basically they're missions. So there'll be a total of 14 in the game. 7 are available right now, and the next 7 will come out at a later time, sometime later this year, I believe is the plan. So let's take a look at what's going on in the game, and then we'll get into, looking at some gameplay and so on and so forth. Okay, so right here we're going to see kind of the stealth element to some extent. There is a lot of stealth in this game. So basically what we're going to do here is we're going to use one of the abilities of one of the characters. His name is Max, and we're going to basically whistle and attract the attention of 2 guards. And you can see here, when I click on this button, you'll get an area of effect. So you want to make sure you get the people you want inside that area of effect. Then you set it and they start to come. Now he goes and hides, and then we'll go into what's called tactical mode. And I swap in and out here to just kind of let them get into place, because once you set your tactical mode, it's going to basically execute it right after that. So here we can see we're going to set it up so that he's going to go punch out one of these guys, and then Ava, the other agent here, will go around and attack the other guy, and then you can synchronize or execute. Synchronize means they move together essentially at the same time, and execute isn't really synced up, but they both will take care of their actions. And then once they're knocked out, you can tie them up, and also you can actually hide the bodies, or in this case toss them off the cliff, which isn't the most humane way to do things, but and it really isn't even necessary in this instance, but I felt like it was a good thing to do to kind of just illustrate, how that would actually work, because there are times when you might have guards that are patrolling, and if they see a body, obviously that's going to attract their attention, even if it's whether it's a dead body or a live body of a comrade who has been knocked out and tied up. So that is basically what we just done there, and now we will go on and move on to the next instance of what we're trying to accomplish here. So basically in this prologue, you're trying to get to a downed ship that will allow you to destroy basically bury in an avalanche the people who are coming to try and interrupt what SG-1 is doing inside the base. And here we're just going to set up another ambush, and this time I'm going to use a dart to knock him out. And now I'll blind him rather, and we come over and then we knock him out, and then you can tie him up.
Here we go. Now you're talking.
Right on it.
If we've got a really powerful weapon, then Anubis is right where we want him. His whole fleet is here.
Only if we can find and control the tech. If we lose this battle, we might have a new god come morning.
Nothing dampens your rosy outlook.
And here we see a new enemy, and you can see his vision cone, and he's a guard, and he's looking back and forth. So we're going to again use our tactical ability to kind of set up a situation where we can shoot him with the blinding dart and then run over and knock him out. Now there is a second guard, but he is up on top. It's kind of hard to see him. But his vision cone doesn't actually cover this, so that we can essentially knock this guy out. We're going to blind him, and then we're going to run up and knock him out, and then tie him up, and then we'll just move on past the other guard who's not looking in the right direction, to kind of get to where we need to be for the next stage.
No problem.
We'll go.
Halt! Surrender!
Here we go.
Let's move.
So correction there, I obviously did not knock him out. You may have noticed the question mark that appeared over his head. That would just mean that he was searching. But now we're moving on, so you have to always scout ahead and see what the situation is as you're moving forward, because you want to always check, and by clicking, and you can see these two guys are talking to each other. Then we have a guard who is sweeping up here. So you always need to take a look at basically their paths when they're walking, because they typically will walk a kind of predetermined set route, and there may be stages to it, and they may stop and look around and then move on again. So basically you have to kind of observe for a little bit. Just like you would in many stealth games, you kind of need to obviously be aware of the situation, aware of your surroundings, aware of where your enemies are, and then you need to determine the best way to either disable or kill your enemies, or simply sneak past them if and when that is possible, obviously.
Got it. We've got to hurry. SG-1 could be in serious danger.
Maybe they don't need our help if this ancient tech is so great. We could just sit back and watch the show.
Ever the sniper, Max.
Now you're
As you heard there, Max is a sniper, and basically you'll end up with a team that has a lot of different specialties and therefore abilities, and a key component to actually completing the various missions, and ultimately the game is going to be utilizing those correctly. And so in this case we have, the patrolling guard. If we wait until he's heading back, then he'll be a non-issue. The two that are talking to each other, they're kind of a non-issue as well. Now this is kind of the final approach to the place we need to get to. It's actually a little bit off screen here. So what we're going to try to do is sneak past them without raising an alarm, and the best way to do that is to utilize Max's sniper abilities, one of which is, as we've already seen, that blinding dart. So we're going to set up here in tactical mode, use Max, and then we're going to basically just set him up to sneak out. And if you stay in kind of the not large green cone, they may not see you if you're sneaking. If you're standing up, though, they will. And see, here in this case, we can just use execute, because that will get us there more easily. And now once we do that, we can run past them, and that'll end up ultimately bringing us to our next area. And this is where we're going to hopefully be able to complete this part of the mission. Here we are. This is basically the final section here. And this is actually pretty easy to get to, pretty easy to complete, rather. So there's this thing right here. That's where we need to go. Now, basically, all we have to do is get to it. And so to do that, we just wait for that guard to start moving on, and then we sneak up there, nice and slow. Slow and steady wins the race in this case. And get there and then activate it, and that's going to generate a cutscene.
Cover me.
Roger.
Okay, come on.
Lay down your weapons.
I think I've got it. Cover your ears.
I want to hear this. Let her rip. Oh, nice shot. Go team.
Hopefully that'll buy SG-1 some time. Let's move out.
Of course, at the end of the mission, you do get to see how you performed, which is nice. So you can see the difficulty level I was playing on, etc., etc. Now you can see this is how we progress through the game. We've just completed the Battle of Antarctica. We move on to the Resistance.
Anubis has been defeated, but the Gua'uld threat remains. Following her valiant efforts in Antarctica, Colonel Eva McCain was assigned to the Lambda site, an off-world outpost of Stargate Command. From there, she leads operations in aid of Jaffa groups resisting the Gua'uld. The planet Hactol is a base and refuge for female Jaffa who escaped Moloch's oppression. Guided by Atah, a scout in the Hactol resistance, Eva is leading a convoy of supplies bound for a camp on Hactol, when their journey is suddenly disturbed by an unexpected threat. Currently on Stargate Timekeepers.
SG-1 got it. The weapon of the ancients.
That was above and beyond, Colonel McCain. We're forming a new team for operations with our Jafar allies, based at the Lambda site. We'd like you to lead it.
Isn't the Lambda site off-world, sir? All right, listen up. We're headed to Hactol. We'll be escorting a supply convoy to one of their camps.
Isn't sending a whole team a bit overkill?
We will provide a scout to help guide your way.
How much longer till we reach the camp?
I expect about 2 hours at this pace.
All right, thanks.
My sisters will be very pleased to receive these supplies. We greatly appreciate your generosity.
No problem. We're happy to help. We've stopped moving.
Is there a problem?
Colonel, there are Jaffa warriors on the path ahead. Moloch's men. They're blocking the way.
Moloch? That's not good. Ata, can we change course?
It might be possible. There are many paths through the forest.
What are our options?
After this turn, the path divides. The way to the right leads to the river. There is a bridge we can raise to cross it. It is strong enough to bear the weight. After the bridge, we can continue on a path that leads towards the camp. Otherwise, we can turn left. We shall come to a great tree with a hidden passage in its trunk. We can open it to let the convoy through. It takes 2 people on top of the tree to open the way. We must first pass through a clearing, then climb up. At that point, the path divides again. We can go whichever way seems safest. Either of them will take us to our destination.
So, we have options. Let's scout the area and work out the best course of action. Roger.
So as we see here, we are moving on to our mission on Hactol. And again, you'll notice the kind of blue aura with the question marks in them. Those are kind of tips where you can stop and you can use the shift left mouse click, which is kind of the hand symbol there, to actually get a little bit of a tip on certain things. So it's kind of an ongoing tutorial type of thing that you can feel free to ignore if you already know what they do. But once we take care of this guy here in our typical way, we knock him out, we tie him up. Now in this case, we're going to hide him in the bushes. So this is one of the new things that we can do here on Hactol, because it's a forested planet, so there are bushes and things where we can hide bodies. Now we'll take a look at how you can actually access one of these. So you see, if we click on that with the hand symbol, we get a little thing that talks about how Atah can steal from enemies, allows her to charge her staff or obtain grenades, etc. You can read the description right there on screen, of course. And basically it plays through an example, and it usually uses something that's right in front of you, so you know that that's a possible way you can actually progress yourself in the game. That is going to do it for this video. I did a lot on this particular episode when I did a look at the Slitherine Next event that talked about the release of this game, which was a while back. But the video is here on the channel, so you can easily find it if you'd like to see more. They did a full playthrough of this episode. I did not show all of it, of course. I took a little bit out of it and talked over it as I am doing right now. And basically you'll get a good feel for some of the other things you can do and each mission kind of builds on the one before it, so that ultimately, you know, the game gets a little bit more complex each episode that you go through, and your team grows larger and you have much more variety in abilities and so on to make things more diverse and interesting. And, you know, I'm going to continue to play the game, and I will likely do more videos to show, you know, some of the more advanced episodes as I progress through things. And that is going to do it for this video. We will be back, as I mentioned, with some more content on this game as I continue to progress, of course. But for now, I'm going to sign off. My name's Joe. This has been Hexed Encountered. And until next time, as always, happy gaming.